for Schindler. Has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello and welcome to a pint-sized preview sponsored by Magic Rock Brewing on Huddersfield's opponents this season. And in this episode, we're looking at Hull City. To help fish for clues on their new season, we caught up with the Hull and Back podcast host, Ant Northgreaves. Sorry, Ant.
Hi guys, it's Ant from the Hull and Back podcast here. Thanks for having me on. For my club's season, I actually think we're at the very minimum going to be expecting at least an outside chance at the playoffs this season. Given the last few years where we've had to suffer really through being a selling club and not reinvesting in the notoriety of our old owners. But we're under a new era now, so we've got a renewed sense of optimism and we're looking ahead to what we can potentially do as a team this year. I think what could go well for us is the fact that we've signed a lot of high caliber players with international experience. The likes of John Michael Sari, Ozan Tufan's got a lot of caps for Turkey. We've signed championship experience in Tobias Figueiredo. We've brought Nathan Baxter back. It was phenomenal last season, and it's just if they all gel very quickly and find consistency, because we know that signing a lot of players can sometimes require quite a bit of time for them to sort of settle in and really buy into the system kind of thing. But if they all hit the ground running sort of thing, I think that we could be quite a lethal outfit next season. Oscar Estepinian up top, got a very good strike rate in his career, was the fourth or fifth highest scorer in the Portuguese league last season, so we'll see how he does as well, I think. And on the flip side of that, what could go wrong probably is the fact that we've signed a lot of players that don't have experience of the English league. So, as much as I'm raving about Estepinian, for example, he's not really been in this league before, and pinning your goal scoring hopes on somebody who may not adapt to the league could be quite a worry, because we know what signings from abroad can end up being like, and it's very hit and miss sometimes. So hopefully the new signings sort of adapt to the Championship quite quickly, because otherwise we can end up being quite a high profile and expensive drop down the table, and end up ruining what could be potentially a very good season. In terms of the manager, with Shota Arveladze, I think the jury's still out on him, because last season it wasn't really his team. We know the style that he's trying to incorporate. It's very organised, pressing, play out from the back, but the standard of the players that we had last season from the previous regime, he couldn't really incorporate that entirely. So let's see how he does this season. He steered us to safety. We secured safety with games to go, which was what we always aimed to do. So by Christmas time we'll have a realistic view of his style and what he wants to do and whether or not he'll be successful. So to me, I like the style that he's going for. So if it works, then it'll be great. But like we say, we've just got to wait and see kind of thing. The fact that he's got 6 months experience in the Championship already is a very good thing, because he kind of knows what to expect now and how much range he's got to have tactically to adapt to each game and team and threat, and so that should go in his favour, instead of bringing him in this summer and expecting him to sort of hit the ground running like the new signings. I think the key player for us this season be a tough one, really. I think Jacob Greaves was outstanding for us last season at centre back, and his ability to be very composed on the ball is almost like a midfielder. He can bring the ball out from defence. He's got very good passing range. He's very comfortable on the ball. So if we're going to incorporate this style this season, then he's going to be key to that. If he can add goals to his game, then he'll be phenomenal. He'd be a Premier League defender by now. He's young. He's only 21 years of age. A local lad. The fans love him. A bit similar to Keane Lewis-Paul. Who was just departed for Brentford for big money. So the academy is really spouting out some good players at the minute, and he could be a very, very big part of that. And John Michael Sari as well, title winner with Fulham last season, signed for him for 20 odd million in the Premier League. So he's going to be sort of the dictator, I think, of this team and controlling the games for us. So it'll be one of those two, definitely. And where I think we'll end up finishing is probably, I change my mind all the time. I'd probably say I'd be happy with somewhere around 10th. But I honestly believe that this team has the capabilities of finishing in the top 10. So I'm gonna put my neck on the line and say 9th place.
So cheers, Ant, for that. That was really interesting stuff. So Hull this season, I mean, it's what an interesting position they're in. Key players, I mean, they've kind of lost potentially their best player last season. Lewis Potter's gone to Brentford, 20 million. And one that really kind of shocked me more than any, because I think everyone thought Lewis Potter was going to get snapped up anyway. But as if I was a Hull fan, I'd feel like I'd be a bit disappointed to see Honeyman go to Millwall, because I always think he puts in a good shift for Hull, and he'd become a bit of a Hull stalwart, but gone to a bit of a rival in the Championship. Matt Ingram probably going to be in net again. He had a pretty decent season last season. Potentially, they've brought in this Nathan Baxter from Chelsea, who might give him a bit of competition. Serian, quite interesting from Fulham. Who knows what he'll do for them? And then a couple of lads from Fenerbahce, basically, who I think they call him the Turkish Simon Cowell, their new owner, which is quite interesting name to have. So, and then on the manager front, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name, but Shota Arveladze.
Shota Arveladze.
There we go. Cheers, guys. I always think it's quite a strange one, that his managerial career is very interesting. Turkey, Israel, Uzbekistan, and then just kind of being thrown into the Championship. It's one of those, isn't it? It might be a genius appointment, and he kind of brings over a bit of the success he had over there, or I can see them struggling. But I don't know. It's one of those. I think they could do with signing a couple more in, and I think that'll happen with these owners. It'd be interesting to see what type of players come in. I mean, they're odds on to be in that kind of bottom half finish. But no, they don't seem to be odds on to go down. So, I mean, maybe if you do like a bet, I might put a couple of quid on them to be in that bottom three, because I might think they'll struggle, to be honest, this season. Good away kit, though. I'll give them that. Matt, have you got any thoughts on Hull?
Yeah, do you know what? Hull fans will hate me for this, and no doubt I'll be proved wrong, but I don't really understand what the plan is at Hull, or what they're trying to do just yet. The owner strikes me as a bit flashy, and I can't tell whether he's here for the betterment of Hull City or whether he's here just to impress his rich mates in Turkey. I can't quite work out which way that's going to go. I know he's done a lot of good things. He's brought in a lot of good sponsors for Hull. They got good money for Keane Lewis Potter, but I just kind of feel like he's a bit excited at the minute, and he's bringing in loads of players from, where he knows over in Turkey, and whether that gels or not, I'm not entirely convinced. I think the striker looks pretty good. The Colombian Oscar Esteputinen. He looks quite a decent signing, and Baxter's a good goalkeeper, the Brighton from Chelsea. So it's not all bad. I'm just not quite able at this moment in time to place where on the scale this new owner is. Whether he's just kind of like today, I've seen that he's on the poster for this new tournament, and I always feel a bit uneasy when owners are actually the front and center of marketing material. It doesn't feel right. So whether this is all about him or Hull City, I'm not decided yet. Maybe there's a mix in between, but I think Hull will be better this year. I do. I don't think they're going to be threatening the top six quite, but I just sort of think Hull, the owner, will just determine whereabouts they finish. I think they'll be higher in the table than what they were last year, and I think at some point, I think the penny might drop, and he might just sort of look at it and go, do you know what? We actually need a more coherent plan of where we're going than just sort of scattergunning Turkish midfielders. But I think they'll be interesting. I think there'll be a lot of fun, actually, Hull. So we'll see how they go.
Yeah, nice one. Brady, any thoughts?
Yeah, Hull are a tricky one, really. I think if you're a Hull fan, I think you'd certainly be excited because, new owners come in, you're signing lots of interesting players. I think, Jean-Michael Seri, obviously, I was surprised Fulham let him go, and I think that's quite a coup for them. Obviously, famously had a failed move to Barcelona, and I think if you told him in 2017 they'd be at Hull City, I think he'd be quite surprised. But, I think they've, Figueiredo, getting Nathan Baxter back is a good, I think he's a really good keeper as well. You just never know, do you? With the players they've signed from Fenerbahce, but I agree with Matt. I think the striker looks good. It's really hard to predict. They could either be amazing, and I think
top or bottom six, can't they? It's
that's it. I think it's one of them. They could either be, in the top 10, like pushing for playoffs, or they could be down the bottom. I think it's really hard to call. I think the coach they brought in halfway through the season, didn't have a good, maybe not the best squad, but wasn't really convinced. So it's one of them. I wouldn't be surprised if they, transfer window still got a while to go. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in some more exciting players. And I also wouldn't be surprised if they sack the manager 3 months into the season and get someone else. But yeah, I agree with Matt. I think they'll be an exciting team to watch. And I just think if you're a Hull fan, it's an exciting time because, the season it's not kicked off yet.
Oh yeah, definitely enjoy this period. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, it is an interesting period for them, innit? I think it's just that reservations for me with this owner. Any thoughts on that, Dave?
I think teams get relegated for one or two reasons. Either their squad's not good enough or their squad's too weird, and that squad looks weird to me at the moment. I kind of echo what you're saying, that there is a chance all the pieces come together. Somebody can actually see the picture on the front of the puzzle box and puts the pieces together, and it does okay. But I just think it looks a bit all over the place. I always look at the gap between the best player in the squad and the not the worst, but the sort of least talented player in the squad, and it looks like massive to me. And I think losing Lewis Potter, who I think was probably my favourite player in the Championship last season, I think is absolutely massive. And it's just a load of unknowns. I as Brady just said, it wouldn't surprise me if they started absolutely rotten and they sacked the manager a couple of months in, and then if things don't instantly improve, they're on their second manager of the season, quickly becomes their third, etc. There is the capacity there for quite the car crash, and there is also the capacity there for something to click and it to go well. I'll be honest with you, as it stands at the moment, it feels very bottom six to me. They look less than the sum of their parts at the minute. But again, it's another one where we're recording this with so long to go in the transfer window. You think a couple of more sensible signings to try and knit everything together, and suddenly it might look a bit different.
Yeah, agreed. Nice one. Well, that was a lovely pint-sized preview of Hull that went down beautifully. There we go.